this is what happens with censorship. Because I'm calling you out here. I'm telling you, keep fact checking me. I love it. There was some very useful information here, but I'm calling you out. Why? I don't want you to censor the page. If you censor the page and get it banned, do you know what's going to happen? We're not going anywhere. We're not giving up. We've demonstrated our commitment to the country and pursuing truth. Excuse me. In this case, we have a situation where you are trying to ban a podcast that is helping de-radicalize people. How many platforms and shows actually de-radicalize people? That is a question you need to ask yourself. Because I've got proof from the left and the right, testimonies that long, 2 pages each, basically detailing what we're doing. Because what happens is when you censor us, we're not going anywhere. We're just going to go to BitChute. We're going to go to Parler. We're going to go to all these platforms out of your reach. Then you have no ability to fact check, and we're gone. And then what happens, just like with prison, is those same people become even more radicalized. Like in prison, the chances of them reoffending is even higher, because what happens, it's not rocket science, the teacher will tell you this. If you put a bunch of naughty kids, like 5 naughty kids together, they'll make each other worse. If you put a good kid who perhaps did nothing wrong and you put him amongst, the average of his 5 friends, it's like that saying he will become like the naughty kids. That's just how it works, unless he's of very high moral character, which is very rare to come by. Now, if you do this, and I'm warning you, and I'm not trying to give you any pleasure out of this, if you do this, the people will get worse from this, because you are empowering the radicals. We are de-radicalizing people. Censorship stops moderation. I can't bring people down to earth on things like the Q stuff, because as we acknowledge this episode, there's a lot of Q people that go crazy. There's some truth, but a lot of them are crazy. And I help to de-radicalize them, as I've got testimonies. There's truth to it. Let me just read you some of the comments. This is from, I'm calling him Billy. I've got his real name here. Both your commentary confirm that this radicalization was nothing more than a tactic to create division as well as divide the country. Having been able to listen to really effective arguments, I think I'm finally rid of a lot of dangerous and poisonous ideologies. I've got so many more like this. So many more, but I won't bore the viewers. I'm happy to share you with these in a redacted version. But this is the problem. If you censor us, we can't continue that work. I don't get radicals, because that was a lefty that I de-radicalized. There's also white nationalists we've de-radicalized. So stop censoring us.
It's almost like they want to keep dividing us. They don't want real de-radicalization. They want to cause a fight, man versus woman, black versus white, rich versus poor. They want to divide and conquer. That's their entire modus operandi. There's no artifice. There's no difficulty in seeing what they're doing. They are dividing us at every possible level, child from parent, Jew versus Christian. It's the same thing over and over and over again.
It's very frustrating, because I know where this is going. You're going to end up, because what happens is, what you did was you censored the Q people. They all went into an echo chamber. They weren't challenged by moderates like me. And then, because I've got to moderate my own side, just like the progressives have to moderate the loonies on their side that say there's 12 years left for the earth before it blows up. But they don't moderate their side. At least I do my job and moderate. What are you doing? This is not healthy. I'm not going off against the AAP. You guys do it. You've done a good job. I'm going off at you because you're working with Facebook to censor people so that they lose their accounts. We're not going anywhere. They tried this with Alex Jones in 2018. They got rid of him from everything, and they did it all at the same time. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all within a 24-hour period. And once they did that, he ended up creating an app which became more popular than the CNN app. It had like 6 million downloads. You didn't censor him. It didn't work. In fact, he ended up being at the inauguration at the Capitol on the 6th of January. It never happened. You never censored him. Similarly, you're not going to censor us. We're not stopping. I told you a long time ago, you got to cut my head off if I'm going to stop. With that in mind, I get it. You want to de-radicalize people, and you want to help suppress misinformation. I'm trying to tell you, we're actually already doing that, and I've got the numbers to show it. But let's not talk about this anymore. But it's very enraging.
Who controls AAP?
I don't know.
AAP is one of the single sources of data on the planet. I won't call it news because it's not.
Yeah.
But AAP is one massive false flag operation. And as we've said before, all your news and entertainment is controlled by 6 entities globally.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of evidence, folks. Just look it up and check it up.
Yeah.
Word for word for word. Thousands of channels say exactly the same thing. We have videos, and they're online. This is just before the Iraq War, that the Canadian Prime Minister and the Australian Prime Minister, word for word, gave exactly the same speech to their respective parliaments. Word for word.
Wow.
And it's not because the points were similar, identical. Our politicians, our bureaucracies, our judiciary, our military, the constabulary, the universities, academia, you name it, all of it controlled.
Interesting. It's very frustrating about this, what we're up against. But yeah, this is where we are.
This is where we need to be. No, this is a good place.
No, it's a good place.
And this is really important.
And we do have a plan.
This is important because I want everybody, and just put in mind those people that are worrying about Trump and the fact that Trump isn't the president, and you're really worried and you're concerned, and I understand that, but you don't need to be. And I'm going to use Joel as an example. Where was Joel 4 years ago? Where was Joel 3, 2, 1? Where is Joel today? As a man and as a professional, as an intellect, he is so far ahead of where he was 4 years ago. And it wasn't because life was good, it was because life was hard. The body, the heart, the brain, the mind, and the spirit require effort for growth. You don't get big muscles by lying under the bench and not lifting the weight. Everything in life requires effort for growth. There is no stasis. You're either growing or you're rotting. Think of a tree, a fruit-bearing tree. You're either rotting or you're growing. There's no, I just wish it would stay. No, stop it. And now, and this is what we need to do. Trump's not there. Fantastic. All that's happened is someone just puts an extra 20 kgs on each side of the bar, and you're going, oh, that's a lot heavier than I'm used to. And you only lift it once. But then you go back and you lift it once. And then you'll go back and you lift it 1.5 times. And by the end of the year, you've got 100 kgs on there, and you're going, yep, no problem. This is exactly the opportunity we need as individuals and as people. This is perfect. It couldn't be more perfect. Yeah. We knew that we couldn't rely on anything in the US to save us. We had to save ourselves. Now, if Trump had won, I'll guarantee a whole bunch of people go, oh, great, I don't do anything. Yeah. No, this is perfect for us because we need to save ourselves one way or the other.
Yeah.
We need to save ourselves. Yeah. And this is exactly what we need. Now, whether we like it or not is not the point. Yeah. When somebody throws an extra couple of kgs on each side of the bar, it hurts. I get it. But that's where the growth comes, because in 12 months' time, not even 12 months, forget it. In 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months from now, every one of us has the choice. We'll either be stronger or weaker. And it's entirely up to us. It is entirely up to us. But look at Joel. The way that Joel has just grown, and he's far more powerful now and influential. Why? Because he didn't choose the easy route. He worked against everything that he believed in. He learned and grew. And I'm not saying we agree on everything, because we don't. That's not the point. But what a man to come from where he was to where he is now. And every one of us has the same opportunity, but you've got to step up. He took the risk. He got onto the field and picked up the ball and was running one way. And then he realized, I better start running the other way because that doesn't look very smart. That's a big step to take. But every one of us needs to do this, folks. We are exactly where we need to be as a nation. We got the shock we needed as individuals and a people, because we need to decide for ourselves today, right here, right now, what are we going to do about it? And you're going to have 2 choices. You do something, you do nothing. And as long as you do something, that's okay. In a year, 2 years, 3 years, you'll be a better man, a better woman, and we'll be a better country. So this is perfect.
What a quote. The greatest thing to come out of Donald Trump's loss is that more people pick up the ball rather than one.
They have to.
It's almost like the death of Leonidas in a way, but not a death, if that makes sense. The death of Leonidas ended up...
That's a brilliant... No, that is an excellent analogy. It really is. Yeah. It is really an analogy. Somebody's got to go first. And even if they die...
Yeah.
Guys, I can tell you there's worse things than death.
Oh, yeah.
There are there are much worse things than death. A physical death, I mean it. There really are much worse. And if you think about it, you'll know that to be fact. And you don't face death. You just face embarrassment. You might face a little fear. It's in your court. Join us on the field.
Let's do it.
We could use more players.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wanted to finish with this last bit of censorship. That was just Facebook.
Oh, okay.
YouTube. But I love the pep talk. With YouTube, I won't talk about a private conversation. YouTube have decided